But every time it rains, and it rains hard, we got, 6-8 inches in 3 hours here during the NASCAR race. Yep. All those sewer systems can't handle that, and it goes into people's homes. And that's a pretty continual event, which I was not aware of, Roy.
Yeah, and it's not just in Berwyn and Cicero. It does happen in north suburbs, Park Ridge, Skokie, Evanston. They have areas notorious, a good part of the north side of Chicago, south side of Chicago, the city. It's an ever-growing problem, and it just happened. The storms we had were very localized in Berwyn, Cicero, in the western and north part of the city. So those people got hammered this time. But
could be your next
it's
time.
an ever-growing problem throughout. I live out in Naperville, Hinsdale, Tony West suburbs. You wouldn't think have sewer back, and we're not talking the sewer backup where something went down your toilet wrong and clogged up your line. You had a temporary backup. We're talking about municipal sewer backup when the actual city sewers are backing up into your home, and the more and I'm sorry, I had all weekend to hear. We heard from over 1,300 people, not all with sewer backup, but people with seepage and problems. But a lot of them had sewer backup problem, and it is just heartrending to hear and to know what these people are going to have to go through, and it is avoidable. It's not easy, because it's almost engineered by design. The city sewers are inadequate. Your home is tied to it. So when the city sewers overflow, it goes into your basement, and the city uses your basement as a temporary reservoir to hold it.
Nice.
It's outrageous to me, and it's not something anybody should have to live with, and nor do they have to.
I want to talk about sewer backups. I just wanted to cover that because I know it frosts you and it gets you going, and I just wanted to calm you down a little bit to identify, because I didn't want you to start getting angry sewer talk here, because I want you to be
nothing
calm.
Worse than that.
I know, nothing worse than that. So what's going on in Cicero and Berwyn, because those were the areas, the two towns that got hit hardest when we got, I think, 8 inches of rain in 3 hours during the NASCAR race that postponed it. Quickly explain before the break, and then we'll come back on the other side and go a little deeper into it.
Yeah. Well, so everybody understands the overall concept is that your house sanitary line, everybody has one, goes out to the city sewers, ties in the sewer out by the street and things like that. And most of the times, especially older homes, like older communities, it's a underground system that's gravity fed. So it actually goes from the bottom of your basement floor drain, if you will, or plumbing line, and it goes underneath the basement and goes by gravity and drains out to the city sewer, which is lower. Now the problem comes in when it rains really hard. The sewers outside are picking up all this rainwater. So normally they're just handling sanitary water, but when it rains, all of a sudden they're inundated and overfilled, and the sewer systems aren't adequate to handle all this, and so they fill up. That backs up the line, comes back up in your basement, and now the water's trying to seek its level with the water in the city sewer, which create inches, sometimes feet of water in your basement. So that's what we're talking about with municipal sewer backup problems.
And that water is not just water.
No,
it's feces.
It's gross water. Let's just say gross.
It's gross water.
It's 98% rainwater. So when people look at,
okay.
It's just clear water, it's fine. No, it's not. If it came back out of the sewer, it's totally contaminated. Thank you.
Yes.
But because it's 98% rainwater, I think, it doesn't look or smell even that bad. But it is very bad, and it's contaminated, and it costs thousands of dollars to clean up from, and you lose things. And it's not just like clean rainwater where it'll dry out, and it has to be, disinfected.
You have a solution for our listeners who are having these challenges. It's an investment. Okay, it's not going to be $17.50. It's an investment, but I want our listeners to think about this. What's the cost of your family having feces in your basement to the health of your family, not only you, but your kids and your loved ones, number one. Number two, the cost of cleanup. Number three, the health concerns if you don't clean it up properly. And number four, the investment you're going to make in the cleanup is going to be astronomically more than what the investment's going to be in the new system. And five, lastly, we got to hit a break, and I want you to cover all these. When you go to sell your home, you have to list on your disclosure, have you had flooding? And you have to click the box yes. Unless you have your new system, then you'll be able to click the box no. And then you'll be able to explain that in more detail after the break. because by installing this new system and the investment that it costs, because we talked about it during our lunch, while our breakfast, which we stopped eating as soon as you started talking about this.
I most certainly did.
Right, I know. I'm like Jeremy, your skillets. I'm like, I was
Turning
going to
green,
go.
a little peakish
I'm like,
right
why don't you
now.
send it over to me? I could power through this.
Sure.
I'm older. But I want you to talk about the investment that you're going to put in your house, and then how much more it's going to be worth in your house when you go to sell it on the market. You're going to recoup it very easily, be able to recoup it. So I want you to dial all that in. What's your phone number for listeners who want to reach out to you guys now?
800-421-SEAL or permaseal.net.